Alright, so here's the tier list for V era. It isn't complete yet, and I hope people understand a few things. One, I'm sick, so you'll be able to hear that. My computer's loud, it's cold outside, I might be typing things while I'm recording this, and because there's a lot of things to talk about, I will not actually have splash arts or any real semblance here. I don't really have a script for this one. Anyways, keep in mind one thing. The tier list don't have any categories yet. So tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, and tier 5 aren't in any order of aren't exactly saying that tier 3 is garbage or tier 5 is complete shit. It means the higher tiers are better. If anything, tier 1 and tier 2 would be tier 1, just tier 2 would be the bottom of tier 1. This is just for organizational purposes, at least from right now, since I don't have a complete tier list yet. I don't have any scores yet. I don't have any of that yet. So keep in mind that this is still kind of rough. If anything, tier 1, they're all grouped up together. They're lumped up. So Dr. Mundo may be at the top, but that doesn't mean he's better than, let's say, Skarner or Amumu, like yet. That still hasn't been determined. They're just all they're all just lumped up in a bundle. Anyways, one of the things I want to talk about that's very, very important is, and there was a huge thread on the forums the other day where someone was saying, oh, some junglers are even more pigeonholed into being support, which I find completely wrong, because two big important things. For starters, the global gold change, that one was big. That one was a lot bigger than most people are realizing. You're able to get gold even if you get fucked up. And as a jungler, that's important. Like, you will have times where you're kind of screwed and, you got to make do with what little scraps you got. And that's where it feeds into the next thing. The new items you got. Even the new items you have and even the old items that have been revamped. Players don't seem to realize just how big and that is. The amount of options a jungler has is immense now. Junglers are notorious for having to be penny pitchers, and now you don't have any gold sinks except the weakest junglers have the machete line as a gold sink. The Wriggles junglers, they're strong with it. They don't care about the machete. They're gonna get the Wriggles anyways, and the Wriggles champions have that advantage right now. And the Spirit champions, they really didn't need it anyways, so they can sell the damn thing afterwards. Even though that's still kind of at a gold loss. Well, they can give Spirit Stone because that's kind of like a Philo Stone anyways. So, the most important thing that happened is items have been given a lot more options than before. And what I mean by that is, like, look at the Brutalizer. The Brutalizer is, for a jungler, an incredibly amazing mid-game item. Like an early item that you can get, it's amazing. It gives you cooldown, it gives you damage, and it gives you armor pen. Armor pen, I think. Yeah, armor pen. I don't think it was armor reduction. Anyways, it gives you good stats for low cost. Problem was, it didn't evolve into anything useful. Ghostblade, it was useful on some characters, but on a vast majority it was pretty much dead weight. And Avarice Blade was also a dead end in most cases. So you'd end up selling that and kind of in a waste for a while. And in most cases, you probably won't even get your money back. So, Brutalizer was great, but it had no evolution, so it didn't actually transition so well for most junglers, especially if when they bought it, they didn't put much use to it for whatever reason. So with that said, Brutalizer was given Black Cleaver as a transition item. Imagine that. Black Cleaver was given a transition. And, Brutalizer was given a transition. And it's an amazing late game transition. Or at least after mid game. Later mid game thing. It's amazing. That's a huge impact for the viability of an offensive jungler. This is why junglers like Kha'Zix and Zed and Xin Zhao are able to make, show their faces now. They've got another option, a very big, offensive, affordable option for them. And by affordable, I mean the components towards building that are helpful for the jungler, and they eventually become something good. Even Avarice Blade became better. It has a lot more evolution options. And the passive on it's mediocre, it's okay, but even if it's mediocre, it becomes good because of the evolutions it has. Atmos Impaler for the starters, Ghostblade still, and Static Shiv, which is a niche build on a lot of junglers, but the option is there, so it's good. So stuff like that. Then the Sheen has Trinity Force, and it has that Frozen Fisting now. That's big. Giant's Belt, it becomes Randuin's Omen now. That's actually a big thing. You get, sure, you sacrifice the Heart of Gold thing, but if you buy Giant's Belt, that means now you can either go Warmogs, Frozen Mallet, Rylai Scepter, Randuin's Omen, wait, did I say that already? No. And Sunfire Cape. It gives you a lot of options towards what you want to build, depending on how the game is going. Like, let's say you buy a Giant's Belt early and then you get a massive lead. I'm like, whoa, I got a massive lead. I can buy a Warmogs right now. And then, it'll be an awesome thing. Or, oh, I need armor now. Their carry's getting fed. Build a Sunfire Cape for damage too. Or I need a CC that Vayne or somehow. So I'll buy myself a Randuin's. Or, I need to just pin this person down, Frozen Mallet. Or you bought a Phage and you got to build it into something too. It's like, that is a huge thing that people aren't realizing. Having so many build options allows you to build utilize all the little gold you have and eventually make it into something big. And it helps that, like a Ruby Crystal will become a Phage, or it could become your Black Cleaver later. You can buy early items and then they become something. And items like the Twin Shadows helped out junglers like Diana immensely. It's like, the amount of items that have come out are a huge fucking deal. And how a lot of items were giving multiple evolutions, that is a big fucking deal. And players aren't realizing that for junglers. Sure, junglers aren't quote-unquote earning as much gold as before, but they're able to utilize the gold they have to a greater extent. So that's something important. And this is why junglers have been shifting into, the option to shift into murder junglers, as I'll put it, they're not exactly carries, has become viable. I've seen players pick Kha'Zix and have great success. Nocturne has become better. Lee Sin, holy crap! Now he has a lot easier time just going offense or defense or support, and to a greater extent than he ever could. And this is actually a huge deal, and people aren't realizing it. Items made a difference, not the actual jungle changes. So an indirect change to the game was the biggest buff to junglers out right now. And I would say that justifies nerfing a lot of junglers right now, because some of them would be insane if they were able to farm up a lot of these items. And sure, not all the junglers ended up being great. Like Warwick, yeah, he kind of still needs help. And Hecarim kind of got shot in the foot, but he's a really weird case. But anyways, keep that in mind. You got to understand now that, well, junglers will have to buy hybrid-y items, offense, defense, and be creative with how they build towards the things. That's the only thing separating from, there's a big thing separating them from supports. Supports will have their complete utility builds, while junglers will have a combined offense and defense build. So they're fighters and the other one's support. While still being supporty, junglers, their overall build will be different than the lane support. Just keep that in mind. Plus, I love the fact that I can murder people as a jungler now and no one will care. And keep that in mind, because when I bring up a certain jungler, that's actually what made him stronger. Anyways, let's talk about the junglers now, and 9 minutes into the video. So Dr. Mundo. Dr. Mundo, I've already talked about him before. Fast, he can go cloth armor. He just builds health. All he should do really is just farm, and then farm, and then come out and kill everybody and become unstoppable. That's basically the gist of it. Buy a Doran shield sometime in there and take less damage than a lot of other characters early on. Sure, he has negative sustain, and it does hurt early, but that's his only weakness. Later on, it doesn't even matter. Sorry for that, clearing your throat. Lee Sin, I already wrote about him, in the actual Reign of Gaming post. But anyways, he's one of the contenders to be tier 1. To be number 1 of tier 1 still. he's in my opinion right now, I haven't put him there yet, but if I keep playing him and I keep figuring that, it's like he's probably the best jungler again. Like, holy crap, just the items, after just playing with them and putting it on him and just, dancing around with his items, they are so good on him now. The new item is just it increases power immensely. Hell, it's like the amount of gold efficiency he gets now is ridiculous, and he can transition in a drop of a hat towards many different builds. So he's still the god jungler. He can build whatever the hell he wants, and he has a lot more options to do with that now. Olaf is very powerful. I've already said it. Incredibly fast. Same thing about with Elise and a lot of build options. Risky early though, and his ganks are sometimes leave something to be desired. But yeah, he can farm up and become a goddamn murdering machine. Everybody knows what Olaf does, and Olaf still does it. Amumu, he got better. He's fast as hell. He is a spirit jungler, but he doesn't fucking need that item. You can quote unquote AP jungler, meaning he can buy items like Twin Shadows and Banner of Command and be a little bastard with those things, or push or gank or whatever. He's got new little trinkets to work with, and still maintain his tankiness. So, he's kind of like Mundo in that sense. Just farm, become annoying, and then just murder everybody without being able to die. So either you gank slightly with him, or just gank whenever your ultimate is up, and then farm all day. Skarner, again, he really didn't change. I can't say much about Skarner. He really just didn't change. He became, he clears camps slightly better, and he's still a menace, and he still destroys a lot of other junglers without items, but he pretty much didn't change. Same thing with Maokai. I can't really say a damn thing about Maokai. He stayed about the same. I can talk about Diana, because I know she got nerfed, but they're going to rebuff her, and otherwise nothing much has changed. Diana she's fair in the jungle, but she's very powerful. She combines Bruiser with AP and a lot of item versatility. And again, the new items that she can purchase, like the Twin Shadows, amazing on her. She can buy Twin Shadows. She can buy utility AP items, and then go wreck people's days. She's got a lot of build options, and hell, it's like that being able to take advantage of items like that is what puts her up there. I actually lost my train of thought there. What the hell am I talking about? Basically, she's fast, she farms fast, she's tanky, and she's got a lot of built-in power, and she can make use of a lot of the new items, and is very gold efficient building towards those items. And that's one of the most important things right now in the jungle. Nocturne, I'm surprisingly... Wait, I skipped the other ones. Trundle. Here's the one that I want to talk about. Trundle's tier 1 again, top there. And some people will say, what the fuck, why is Trundle there? I'm not the only one noticing that Trundle's become powerful again. But that's because how the meta is working right now. Because of what I mentioned, of people playing more murder junglers, or hell, people playing top lanes that just buy Black Cleaver and try to kill people. Trundle's been able to make a small comeback for the people who actually use him. They've noticed he's strong again. Very a good choice. Why? Because if there's only one tank on the enemy team, or no tank, he will dominate. If there's only one tank, he turns them into butter, and they drop at like nothing. Oh, Malphite barreling down with all his stats, drain him, he dies instantly. That Cho'Gath dies instantly. They don't have a tank, just drain somebody and they're gonna get kited and killed. He's great at that. He's great at team battle control, and he's great at making a tank a pussy. And now that there is one tank or no tank, he's able to come back again. And sure, you just don't pick them versus teams that end up getting multiple tanks. But right now, I haven't been seeing teams take any more than one tank. And that's, I'm repeating myself, yeah, but that's actually a big deal. And Trundle excels versus teams like that, and that's why he's making a comeback. Vi, I don't know how to actually say it or care to say it. I think it's violence. For violence. you might as well read what I wrote there. I already wrote enough about it. I'm going to say she's tier 1. She's really powerful. She's a lot of free stats, and she fucking hurts. Sure, she can gank almost worth of shit before level 6, but once she gets to level 6, she pretty much slam dunks somebody and murders the crap out of them. So her dueling's kind of weak early on, but unless she's double buff, she's pretty much like dangerous as all hell. But she's got a lot of crap wrapped up in one jungler. Mobility, high damage, CC ultimate, a lot of, like, you know, multiple mobility tricks. She can wall hop. She got a lot of use on her, and she clears like a motherfucker. Nunu. Poor Nunu. Like, even though he is Satan incarnate and is the most annoying thing ever, he really just can't shut down junglers as much as well as he could before. Because, I mean, the small camps are still kind of worthless, early on at least. But the global gold will eventually pad the weakened jungler. And Nunu won't really contribute too much compared to even a weakened jungler in most cases. I mean, there's too much recovery now. So, Nunu, still really, really damn strong and really, really annoying. But that's all he kind of is, really annoying. Nocturne, I've already stated before, but he lowered down because he's actually pretty fragile versus almost every other jungler. I think not being able to have like rush any defensive things unless, you know, you get wriggles has kind of hurt the crap out of him. He's really strong. Don't get me wrong, but it's something wrong when using him. It's like it doesn't feel like his early game is doing so well compared to everybody else. That's about it. Cho'Gath, he's been nerfed, and that nerf to sustain really did hurt. You can feel it. So now he's forced to build more offense in order to finish his clearing. Jax is one of the biggest surprises in my opinion. But it should, like, if I think about it, it shouldn't have surprised me. A lot of great items that he wants have become very efficient for building them. For starters, the Cutlass is a great item now. I mean, because it has another option to build into, and it's not like he's and he doesn't have to sink any gold into gold items. And the Hextech Gunblade is, you know, really useful it's core on Jax. But other than that, the Rage Blade for offense is amazing on him. That damn item, she's got boosted. I don't even know how to say. I mean, sure, you drop in like a pit, you drop really quickly. You drop like a whore. But it adds a lot of offense power as long as you stay alive. I'm actually at a loss for words here. I'm trying to scratch my back with a back scratcher. Jax, the gold efficiency has allowed him to become a murdering machine, and he can build somewhat tanky. But it's mostly the amount of build options he's had, the amount of great components that's made him viable again. You know, the hybrid item is becoming a lot more efficient and effective and abundant. That's what's made him stronger. And of course, the fact that his single target damage at level 6 obscene, he just starts farming up, he just starts mowing down camps like nothing. So, if anything, his ganks are still kind of wonky because of the stun being somewhat unreliable sometimes, and like they can see it coming. But if he pulls off a gank, he gets ahead, it's amazing. Otherwise, farm all day and then go around murdering people. Let's see. Jarvan, he feels exactly the same way. I can't actually say anything. He's still probably going to be my jungle poster boy. Though, I kind of like the fact that I can build offense on him and kill people. That's great. Xin Zhao, he got noticeably better, and it's kind of for the same reasons as Jax did, and Kha'Zix did, and almost everybody else did. He's got more build options for offense, and therefore he can become a murder machine from the jungle, or still just go in his tanky form. And of course, him being a single target jungler has helped him out somewhat, and he is pretty sustained. There is a problem though. He's still slow as balls. He's not really that much faster, but he is definitely he did get a significant increase in power thanks to the items. Like, I can't actually describe it. I really should use footage for that. I should explain it later of how items have helped most of these junglers. And I've already explained it earlier, in fact. What the hell am I talking about? Shaco, fuck Shaco. Malphite, I actually haven't seen a lot of Malphite, but he pretty much stayed the same way, which is kind of why I put him at the bottom of tier 2. I mean, bottom of tier 1, technically, using my explanation for that. He'd be the bottom tier 1. Even if it was an official tier list, he'd probably be put at the bottom. He's about he's pretty much above average on everything, and he really didn't change much. And he like even the new items. I mean, having new build items for him didn't actually help him that much. He didn't get any goddamn options. So Elise, she got better, not significantly better. I think she's probably a better laner, because she can't really duel for shit early. That's kind of one thing I've noticed really painfully. Like, holy crap, her dueling is terrible early. Like in the lane, she harasses and then goes in for a kill. She can't do that in the jungle. Tryndamere, he got a lot better. Like a whole lot better, but a lot riskier. I'll explain Hecarim and Tryndamere here at the same time. They sort of traded in their early game, which was already shitty, for an even better later game, or mid game too. Which is, like, it's really weird when you think about it. It's like, their earlier game got even worse, which when it was already really bad. But their later game and their mid game became immensely better, which wasn't bad. In fact, their late games were already good. Tryndamere's is, of course, dependent on how much CC the enemy team has. But yeah, it's like Tryndamere fucking dies, and Hecarim just is slow. I mean, slow and sluggish, and dies too. But whatever. That's what's hard to determine. It's like Hecarim's reason for not being used often is because his early game was always so sketchy. But having a worse early game, but an even more amazing late game, will people make stat sacrifice? I mean, the new items, tanky items, fucking man, are amazing on Hecarim. But will people go bite the bullet? That's kind of what I'm saying. Nautilus stayed the same. He got slightly faster, but he's pretty much the same thing. His problem still is that other people want to punch him in the dick. Shyvana got worse. Surprisingly, I was surprised about this one. She's still really fast, but the lack of sustain is killing her. And of course, and some people are saying Heart of Gold nerfs. I mean, the Heart of Gold being removed did her in. No, it didn't. That's stupid. You're stupid. It's just, she's not bad, but she's worse than before. I want to say, she's not as extremely annoying as before. I think it has more to do with that she's fragile, and that other junglers can beat her ass even worse now because she doesn't have any items that she could build, and I guess because she can't start boots, ganking and become even worse than before. I don't know. Just go with the fact that she's unsustained and fragile. There we go. Udyr is kind of the same thing as Shyvana, except he is actually tanky and sustained with Turtle Shield, but he isn't as fast as her, and his ganking has always been, kind of meh. I mean, since mobility creep started happening. His mobility is meh. Let's see. Fiddlesticks. I've used Fiddlesticks, but I still don't actually know what to think about him. I mean, his clearing definitely got faster. His first clear was never a problem. It stayed the same in Season 3. But the problem was in Season 2 is his subsequent clears became worse and worse and worse. But now they aren't as bad, and they're really good if you get a second blue. So if you can tell your mid laner to go, screw himself, and you get a second blue, you'll be very powerful. But you'll still be screwed if they invade you early. I mean, you can't beat Fiddlesticks in a duel. Most junglers can't. He'll just drain tank them, and then they just walk away. Or die trying. But Fiddlesticks is still CC machine. His ultimate is still killer. It's just he really doesn't feel like he changed much aside from his slightly better clearing. But he's better, and he's technically better there. That's a better way to say it. Rengar, he's been nerfed so badly. I'm just giving him the benefit of the doubt that his buff is going to bring him back again. I should talk about Rengar, Zed, and Kha'Zix at the same time. They're like a trifecta right now. Rengar is the best ganker out of the three. Kha'Zix is like a hybrid of both Rengar and Zed. Because Kha'Zix's W is far better than Rengar's W right now. And Zed is an amazing farmer, but a really shitty ganker. Rengar and Kha'Zix have similar tools. Rengar's is a lot better because he can go, lane gank. Kha'Zix can just reapply a slow and close the gap. Zed can't gank for shit. So there's like a trifecta going here. They're kind of they're just think Rengar top of ganking, Zed top of farming, and they're opposite of each other's abilities. So Rengar is shitty at farming now. He used to be good, but now they nerfed the crap out of him. And Zed is shitty at ganking. Level 6 is kind of different, but it's still pretty bad. And Kha'Zix in the middle of both of them, but kind of like, isn't worse, but better. Like better farming than worse farming. Actually, what the fuck am I talking about? Okay. Enough of that. Skip that. Gangplank, he's one that I haven't actually seen, and I only played him once, and it was really weird. Like, I've explained it already so many times that his farming became better, and it's still the same. How I explain that? He can farm his Q a lot better because the minions will die with one swipe and then a bullet to the brain, but he's still having an issue of having to clear the camps pretty slowly. The spirit items don't do shit for him from what I can tell. Maybe Lizard later on, but they don't really help him clear any better. And the wriggles is always a risk, because if you proc that crap and you don't get your Q off, it's kind of annoying. So he's in a weird spot. I mean, semi-carry still works, and the fact that there's a lot more build options is lovely, but I have no idea what Gangplank is. Some people are saying he's better, some people are saying he's worse. I don't actually have an opinion yet. Warwick, he's definitely not better. He's not worse either. He's just sustain, you can notice it compared to other junglers, but it isn't any different. He's still slower, and he's still not contributing as much. Sejuani, well, she disappointed the fuck out of me. Basically put, she dies really quickly. She still fucking dies. I mean, I tried building her damage with Magic Pen and everything, but I still died in like 5 seconds. And Rammus, poor Rammus, same deal. He just dies clearing the jungle, and then kind of doesn't do as much anymore. He needs a buff somewhere, or a remake or something. Riven, I haven't actually seen her. She's down here mostly because she's unsustained, and later on she gets better, but her early game has got worse than before. And you don't exactly want to build wriggles on her either, or any of these items. So Machete is a kind of a dead item on her. Shen, poor Shen, dude. Now you're kind of forced into buying wriggles. He kind of just got worse. I mean, a lot of his old options became nullified. He's slower than ever, and I mean, that was one of his greatest strengths, being able to build anything in jungle naked, basically. Nah, that's not the case. He kind of needs a few items in order to actually jungle, and that kind of sucks. Alistar's just been nerfed. Just wait for his buffs, and of course the new jungle beats his ass, so he's kind of out of it, really out of it. And then the other ones kind of don't matter. Well, actually, I should talk about them anyways. Well, talk about Master Yi at least. Volibear's getting a rework of some kind, so I'm not going to bother with him. Master Yi, he's still just the most easiest thing to kill. And sure, he can farm faster, but it's still, it's still RNG related. And he still gets killed by pretty much everybody. So he's not getting any better. Wukong, poor Wukong, he actually got a lot worse. And he was one of my favorite, average junglers to use. Well, what can you say? And I'm sorry it was kind of rambling, but I didn't have a script for this one. So I just kind of had to, snap to and talk about everybody in at least some form. And, of course, I ignored a few. And let's just give a basic rundown. For Tier 1, the best junglers, in my opinion, the opinion of my opinion, let's put it that, who will probably end up being the top junglers for every tier. For Tier 1, the definitive top junglers there will probably be Elise and Dr. Mundo, and and Amumu probably, because fuck Amumu, I ban him every single game now. God damn. Tier 2, the biggest ones there are probably going to be probably Nocturne, Jax, and Jarvan. For Tier 3, it's probably going to be, Tryndamere, and I can't say Rengar yet because he's getting his buffs, and we'll see how that works out. It will be Tryndamere, Kha'Zix, and Nautilus. And then Tier 4 doesn't really matter, but it'll probably be Hecarim and Remember, tier 1 and 2 are basically just tier 1. Tier 2 is just the bottom of it. And tier 3 is basically tier 2, and tier 4 is basically the bottom of tier 2. It's just organizational purpose right now because there's a whole lot more junglers, and I haven't tested all the gimmicky, crappy junglers, and that will come way later. This is just for organizational purposes. Keep that in mind, and enjoy the tier list. Sorry this fucking took forever.